Hello, welcome back to our Therapist After Hours, either podcast or videos. I don't know what we're doing here, depending on where you found us. And so my name is Aleksandra Sinclair and my friend Zack Butterfield. We both work as therapists, mental health therapists, and well, we need our after hours time. And so welcome. And today we will be talking about mental health during coronavirus crisis. Hi.
So good to be back. I've also dressed very casually today.
Good job dressing casually. We're after hours.
Yep.
And
I'll probably come in sweats one of these times.
I know. We should have a jammy day for sure, right? We don't get to do that at work.
Nope, not at all.
It doesn't feel fair sometimes.
Yeah.
And so we figured we'll do this kind of episode around what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And right now what is happening is coronavirus is messing with our lives.
Yeah. So maybe we talk about kind of like a generic overview about how we feel like mental health's being impacted by the virus.
Yeah.
And then we could talk about like maybe like some suggestions and different things.
Definitely.
Because I also feel like we see different types of clients, like we see different types of things.
Yes.
So
Okay.
I think a little bit.
Yeah.
You might see more like domestic violence stuff than I do.
Oh, I don't know. I like knock on wood, you know?
Yeah.
Because now that's what's on the rise. That's one of the things about coronavirus, right?
Right.
So what are your overall thoughts? Maybe not necessarily, like, you know, from the perspective of mental health, but maybe not necessarily what you see in the office, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's a little different.
I feel like if we were to like have everyone rank from 1 to 10 where their anxiety level is, whatever was going on before coronavirus added 3 to it. I feel like that's across the board for everybody.
And it's a little unique, very unique situation.
Yeah.
When literally that's happening everywhere.
Yeah. Like,
right?
Like, I can't think of anyone who's not been impacted.
Right.
By this.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
one way or the other.
World. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's not even like, oh, this town or this state or the country. Nope. It's
kind of all over the place.
Interesting.
A little more severe in some places than others, but
yeah,
it's which from a mental health perspective, I feel like in some ways that's an interesting thing that can be helpful. I think social distancing is a little bit complex. Like, we should obviously be doing it for health. I think it has some kind of complex mental health factors. I'm sure we can get more into that later. But then like it's just then like adjustments, particularly like significant adjustments, usually come with some anxiety or depression anyways.
Yes.
And like people changing schools, even if they didn't like school, it's still an adjustment. Changing work to at home, even if you didn't like work, it's still an adjustment. Like figuring out like grocery stores, where's the toilet paper, like all this stuff. I still don't get that, by the way, even from a psychology perspective. I have tried so hard to understand it. I don't get it.
That is, I'm a little bit.
I don't get it.
You know, some people will not like to hear it. I'm a little bit disappointed that has been such a big issue.
Yeah.
You know, like how much toilet paper do we need really? And really, we're talking worst case scenario. I mean, there are other things you can do. You know,
you can shower.
So, rinse it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's...
Most of the world does that anyways.
Yes, exactly. You know, so that was a little bit, that's somehow that became like a priority. Yeah. You know, even over thinking about others, being kind, taking care of each other. So,
definitely increased a lot of fear, definitely increased a lot of stress. I think losing your job is, I can't remember where that fits on like the stress scale, but I think it's one of the top 2 or 3 things that people can experience of like the amount of stress hormones it releases and stuff like that.
It's definitely scary, and it's like scary time. We think about like long-term impact on economy and stuff. So
Yeah.
I do want to, because it definitely impacts everybody. I do kind of, I don't know, want to say that it's okay if you don't feel very impacted.
Yeah, that too.
Right?
Yeah.
And even like that kind of, I guess, refers to like, our jobs, other therapists, like, let's not assume that everyone is devastated.
Right.
A lot of my clients are not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like some of them are kind of like, you know what, really, like I'm still going to my work, and they don't feel,
And some of them were social distancing before this.
For some, this is like awesome. Let's keep it up after that's gone.
Like, social anxiety is now like a helpful thing, not a disorder.
Yeah, definitely. Or like the things things I'm dealing with are way worse than like wearing gloves in a grocery store, or not having toilet paper at home. That's like not a big deal to me because I have so many other things, to worry about.
Right.
So,
yeah, you're right. Even though it's affected everyone, like, for instance, our jobs, we're considered an essential service, so we still have employment. On my end, I feel like my job's gotten harder since this has been going down.
I'm not less busy.
I'm not less busy at all. More busy, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, we're all impacted in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, in our, at least other counselors are trying to decide about if their office space has that 6 feet apart kind of thing, or about like telehealth, and just like trying to navigate a lot of those things. I think that's maybe the biggest thing that we're having to work through.
Yeah.
And insurances are working really hard. HIPAA's changing some of their requirements for telehealth and stuff like that. So it's like really, really...
We have to rethink a lot of things.
We have to rethink a lot of things.
Poor teachers have to rethink a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Have to kind of like, they had a beautiful plan probably. Now they have to like adjust that. It's a lot of work. And it's like a change everywhere.
Absolutely. It is a change everywhere, yeah.
Kids are staying home and sort of, I always wanted to be more home with kids. Not anymore, All those reactions are kind of whatever is coming. I think we have to be really, really kind to ourselves and each other's.
Absolutely.
There isn't like an inappropriate way to react to this. There's one inappropriate thing to do. Punch people over toilet paper. That's not cool.
Yes, that is very inappropriate. Very, very inappropriate. It's not worth it. Not worth it. But maybe the bleach.
The hand sanitizer.
Maybe the hand sanitizer. But it's kind of like grief, like stress or threats. Like, so like grief, a lot of people have a lot of very different reactions to that and stuff like that, and each one is okay, granted that it doesn't infringe or hurt someone else. I think that's similar with this, is that a lot of people are going to be experiencing a lot of different things, and I think that's okay. Yeah.
And we do, even I keep thinking about seniors not having prom, and people working so hard on their degrees and not getting to have a graduation ceremony, or even planned vacations that you don't get to take.
Right.
It's okay to be super, super sad, like I know that there are people that have it worse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't make your pain less,
For sure. Right? Yeah. I frequently say you can't compare traumas. So like you can't say that someone's better off or worse off than you, because if it's something that's unpleasant, we're experiencing the same thing in our brains. Yeah. So granted, some people could be experiencing that more often or less often, but I actually think that's something that can help connect us versus like, oh, they have it worse, I can't relate to them, or they have it better, I can't relate to them.
Yeah. Don't minimize, like we do not have to minimize our experience. So that's another, right? Like it's kind of, so we all like have we're affected in different ways, but we're all affected. That never was a thing, right? Like almost.
Right.
Kind of. Yeah.
Which, this really reminds me of a lot of research they did. Well, so like when SARS was coming out, I read a study that happened, particularly from Hong Kong, kind of like a survey of their mental health. And then it also reminds me of like a lot of research I read about 9/11. Because 9/11, like I've seen some clients that were my age when 9/11 happened to me, And I remember like how impactful that was then. And it's like, this is like their 9/11, but in some ways it's almost like more impactful, more disruptive. Because like I still went to school and stuff like that.
That's
like,
right.
Most of life continued on very normal for me.
Yes, even if it felt like, oh my gosh, we don't know what's going to happen next.
Right.
Some of the routine was there.
Yeah, the routine stayed the same. Where it's almost like everyone's routine is disrupted a little bit.
Yeah, and even if it's not, I don't know. I do feel like with a lot of clients, but people in general, like there's going to be like a delay reaction.
Absolutely.
To stuff, right? Even getting sad over the things we're going to miss now. Right. Like right now, it's like, oh, but we're healthy and we're focusing on, doing the right thing. And that, like this is okay. That doesn't matter anymore. We let that go.
Right.
It may come back, right? It may feel like, oh, wasn't fair. And it's okay. Like the timeline might, there isn't the right timeline, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What else do you worry about?
My biggest concern, so I mentioned the 9/11 research, is they were kind of expecting PTSD rates to skyrocket in New York City and surrounding areas. And they were surprised when they didn't really as much.
Interesting.
So that led people to research like how do people naturally work through trauma? And they found that number of people attending church increased, number of people that were like sitting at the same table in a restaurant increased, like number of social gatherings, number of parties, number of family gatherings increased, which really led them to say that like human connection is what helps us resolve through like trauma. And then like yoga and acupuncture were also some of them, but to a lesser extent. So I guess what my concern is that because we're not gathering, we're not organizing, people are going to have very disrupted like social communication. I think it'll be really great when this is over and we can have those types of things. I think there'll be a lot of emotion. I think there'll be a lot of connection, stuff like that. It's just kind of challenging for all of us now.
Yeah.
So it's obviously not the same through technology or stuff like that, but you already see people being very adaptive, like talking through windows, talking through screens, like FaceTime, Zoom, Skype, like all the usages of that have increased a ton and stuff like that. So like we're adapting, but I think some people are like, oh, like if they're dealing with anxiety or social anxiety or worrying about reaching out, connecting to people anyways, I feel like that's more impacted because like
it takes
even more effort to learn something new along with everyone else.
You cannot just have a casual conversation in a grocery store by accident. Accidents like that will not happen. You have to kind of seek it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I'd say connection is my biggest concern because they showed in Hong Kong that like PTSD rates increased 16%, depression increased like 20 or 30% from having to be quarantined
isolated
from the SARS virus. So it's necessary for like our physical health, and like if you think of Maslow's triangle, we have to take care of that base survival first. I just think a lot of us will need to process a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And like make sure we have a lot of connection when this kind of goes away.
Yeah. So like kind of watch it, right?
Yes.
Do like if you can like do like make that extra effort.
Yeah.
Right. If you can do even more, reach out to people that you think will not.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And guarantee they're gonna appreciate it, right?
Right.
It can really go a long way, and sort of be aware. I do wonder sometimes once this is over, is it gonna be like immediate everyone boom, like oh let's now hang out and go to restaurants and do all that sort of stuff, or is it gonna be almost like is it safe? Like will we have to kind of warm up to it? Depend. I don't know.
I think a little bit of both. I think a little bit of both. I think it'll be tough. I've had conversations with friends about like what would change and what won't change because of the virus, and what do we not want to change and what do we want to change. And I'm not someone who loves a lot of physical contact anyways, so I'm great if like we're not handshaking after this ever. Like I'm okay with that.
A lot of people say that.
Yeah.
I'm with you though. I am okay with that as well.
Yeah. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. It's gonna be like that habit will be removed. We would have to like on purpose. Get it back in there.
Yeah, start a movement and start like bowing or something like that.
Yeah, wave.
Yeah, wave.
Hi. Yeah. I don't know. What else do we worry about? I worry about the domestic violence thing for sure.
Yeah.
I worry about it already increases, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's already has been, so kind of now the sort of the tensions at homes have even less opportunity to kind of, dissolve.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You think about like those toxic families or just families that is just not good time now to be
absolutely
all together, right?
Yeah.
We have, especially in Utah, right? We have big families.
Mm-hmm.
We have kids that already left the house either to go to college or a mission. Suddenly they're back.
Yes.
I know about families that they're, right?
Yes. They've already had that sense of independence and now they're kind of forced back. Yeah.
And now they don't even get to go somewhere.
Right.
They don't even get to go to class or like, go to the movies with their friends. They're like literally with their little siblings and mom and dad.
Yeah.
That's hard.
It is hard.
It
is hard.
So I worry about that. I worry about just overall, teenagers and 20-somethings, right? That do kind of, we're getting ready to leave maybe not so nurturing homes.
Yeah.
Right? And they worked so hard to create the life for themselves where they have friends, maybe hobbies, maybe they're involved in sport. Because that happens, people. Yep. Some teenagers like really do not want to be in the house.
Yep.
And that's why they get those passions,
Right.
Like they kind of like keep busy.
Yeah.
Right. They find themselves sort of like the friend group, the other like theater family, soccer family,
Yep.
And now it's taken away from them.
Right.
And now they're back in the spot where they don't quite feel safe.
Right. Where, the Gottmans that did all the marriage research and the relationship research, they talked about that magic ratio of 5 for every 1 negative thing, but it's also in the perception of the person. So the other, it can't be like 5 good things. So like my mom's and my dad's would be like cleaning the house and stuff like that. Like that would be a good thing for them. That's not a great thing for me. So it has to be like that kind of ratio for the person. So I think this kind of leads into, something that you can do when you're at your house is making sure you're having like at least that ratio, but then you're also like doing games. You're also doing things that your kids enjoy. Maybe this is a chance for you to even play video games with your kids or stuff like that. Like enter into their world, do their things with them. Like that could be stuff that's really relationship bonding. And then they can think about this time like, hey, remember that time we were quarantined and really worked on a relationship? We weren't busy.
Play the game with me.
Yeah. And we weren't like so busy doing everything that we had no time to do this type of stuff. Like I think since life has kind of forced us to slow down a bit, it can give us a really great time to like have those like more of those positive interactions as well.
I like that, definitely, right? Like looking for, and I know it's hard, when you're, positives are sometimes very hard to find. Yeah. Right? This is like really, and in some families or for some individuals, it's really hard time and they literally, depend for their coping and everything to do the social stuff, right? The connecting, which is overall healthy. Like it's good coping mechanism. Yeah. And now it's ripped apart, it's ripped away from them. So, but so we have to make effort. I don't know. Yeah. Right? But also like let's not compromise. For sure. Right? Like I like that it has to be, if cleaning your house and organizing your closets is not your thing, don't do it. Right. Just because it's like seems like a good time, right? Be really picky about, okay, you hate meditation, you like yoga, do that.
Right. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, the other thing too is that it could be very easy to fall in the tendency of just sitting on your couch binging Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus or whatever, and like our bodies are designed that they need movement, and so this is even a problem that we like if you're at work sitting in an office all day, is your body's very restricted in its movements.
Yeah.
And so we still need movements, and I know that gyms are closed and stuff like that, but walks outside, just keeping the distance. Yoga is like an amazing thing anyways. It's really hard. Like I think people doubt how hard of an exercise it actually can be. Home workout, kind of stuff like that. Movement, just movement is still really important.
Definitely. Yeah, we cannot quite expect to function well, like that's one of our body's needs. So it's gonna take a toll if we don't have that, basically.
For sure.
Now not that there isn't the right place for binge watching Netflix, if that's something that I don't know, bonds.
I'll definitely be doing that later.
Right. Right. Bonds you with your family, or just something that, that favorite show you can later talk about with a friend or whatever. Then do that. Like, let's do that. Let's be intentional, though.
Absolutely.
Right? Let's be kind of aware I'm going to do it now because I really want to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that will make me happy, not because I don't want to do anything else. Or, right? Like, I want to just kind of like pretend the world doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Which
like kind of brings up a good point that like we also need something to talk about besides the virus.
Yeah.
Like, because that's all we're talking about. Like I saw a meme that was like, what did we even talk about before the virus? And like I had to pause for a second. I was like, what did I talk about before the virus? So like I think this is a great time to like read book subjects and things that have nothing to do with the virus.
Totally.
And like start those conversations. Like you hear a lot of people like doing like group movie watching things like through FaceTime or whatever. Like, yeah, just like it's obviously looking different, but just making sure that we're also having conversations that aren't just completely stuck on the virus or the earthquake here in Utah or...
That's right. We also had an earthquake for anyone that listens to
It's been a little rough here.
Was it the same week that we like had it was
about the same way as schools closed.
On Monday, and then Wednesday there was an earthquake.
Yeah, and I kind of panicked because it was like the only like earthquake preparation I've done was in school, like as a child. So I don't know what to do as an adult when I'm lying in my bed. Other than just staying in my bed.
Yeah. It passed, right?
Yeah, it passed.
Luckily. So, I don't know. It sounds like a lot we can do, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
Definitely time to be kind to each other.
For sure.
In any way possible,
For
right?
sure.
Everyone experiences it differently, so let's like not judge somebody that, I don't know, does things that we're technically not supposed to do.
Absolutely.
Like, let's communicate openly. That's another thing. I think with not being able to be in person together, we have 6 feet here, right?
That's for sure.
I feel like we have to be more direct.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're communicating through phones now or videos, which is not the same as having the whole body language right? Available. So, like, let's not, like, I don't know, be overly politically correct, like, kind, but, right? Like,
But also, like, emotionally honest.
Exactly, right.
Emotionally direct, emotionally honest. Like, say what you mean. If you're offended, say it. Just like be direct.
Yeah, I have to say I'm kind of thinking about some Facebook discussions. I saw, right?
Yeah.
People get funny, and so it's okay to, someone is trying to do, I don't know, like, even, okay, this is a weird example, but maybe even interacting on the street with neighbors, let's say, right?
Yeah.
Some will take social distancing more serious than others.
Right.
For good reasons, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they have an elderly family member at home and they will not do something like, let's be okay hearing that, let's be honest, saying like, okay, I can't do that because blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And let's take it, the other person's responsibility is to respect that, basically.
For sure.
For
sure. Not criticize it or
not feel offended,
ridicule it,
by rejection or something. Like we can hear it and be like, oh, okay, we really are. That's something that, I don't know, not in my lifetime, So everyone is dealing with this for the first time ever.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so there's gonna be some errors and
Absolutely.
like learning curve.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know?
So yeah,
Wow.
it's definitely giving other people permission, giving them the benefit of the doubt,
Mm-hmm.
giving ourselves the benefit of the doubt, ourselves permission. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Complicated time, right?
Yeah, it is. It is a very complicated time.
So we still go to work in person.
Yes,
How
we
do you
do.
feel about it?
I've made some adjustments. Like I wipe down my office every hour and stuff like that, like as best as I can. Try not to touch people's credit cards and stuff like that. I feel like this isn't a bad thing. Like it's only like wearing on me because like it's just like a little bit more work stress. But I feel like I'm people's only social interaction, so they have to get it all out with me because I'm like the only person they can see in person if that's what we're doing. And yeah, that's kind of tiring to me.
Yeah.
At least at the end of the day or the end of the week. Not any particular person, just overall, it's just kind of tiring. So,
So
was that what you were asking?
Yeah. That was open-ended question for you to take it, whatever. So does that mean? Do you feel like it's like pressure on you to like sort of, I don't know, meet that social need within an hour?
Jeez, this just went into like a counseling session for myself.
Sorry.
No, I needed it probably. I don't know if I felt that pressure personally. I guess like what I do feel is like people are talking faster. People are like changing topics quicker. People are like small talk now is like a stressful small talk, if that makes sense. Like, how are you surviving the end of the world? Like, how are you dealing with the earthquake, the virus? Like, how are you dealing with that stuff? So it's like, it just seems like the
Like more
speed of the interaction has increased in intensity and kind of pace. And that's what's kind of wearing on me. Where like normally like in my counseling approach, I like slowing things down, really like taking a microscopic look. And it just seems like it's kind of sped up beyond
It's
that.
almost like things like getting in the way of that kind of slowdown.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Also, this is completely unrelated, but I just yawned, and I'm like a counselor who totally believes in yawning, but it doesn't mean I'm bored.
You better not be.
I'm not bored. I was told this because I'm not breathing deep enough sometimes. So that's probably the case. But I'm definitely not bored.
Okay. I will not take it personally.
Don't take
this
it
time.
personally.
This time.
Yeah. That's, yeah, give me permission on that one.
Yes, you have the permission.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of mixed in our suggestions and our concerns kind of a bit, but like just a brief summary, I'd say like movement, positive interactions, even if they have to adjust or look different, and emotionally direct conversations. I feel like I'd say like those are my top 3. I don't know. What do you feel?
Yeah, I definitely feel like from our perspective as therapists, but also, you know, parents, teachers, you know, whatever, kind of this like giving permission for people to process that however, experience it however they want to, you know, whether they feel affected, they don't feel affected, they will feel affected later.
Right.
You know, like giving that sort of, it's like commonality of it kind of makes us feel like we're together at this and this, but any situation, right?
Right.
We can go for a car crash together and we're going to experience it differently, right?
Yep.
So that's sort of like a balance, you know, we kind of, I hope we're going to be okay with keeping that balance. Like, yes, we all think about it, talk about it. Some of us are more comfortable joking about it than others, right?
Right. I joke a lot about it too.
Right? So yeah, giving that permission and just being aware of the changes, you know, like this is how I met those needs before. I still need to meet those needs in some way, right? Whether it's like exercise or any movement, socializing. No, it's not ideal that I have to do it over the phone.
Right.
But I can, well, luckily we get to do that.
Right.
right?
Right.
This way. So I don't know. Also, I did have, not talking about clients,
Okay.
but we will get depressed,
Yeah.
Like that's kind of, like give yourself permission to be just sad, like it's okay. It doesn't mean that you're going to be now depressed for the rest of your life. This is where that stigma of mental issues come in, right?
Right.
That's, of course, if you're like a person that likes to be at the gym a lot and like going to restaurants and like, and that's not your option right now, you will be depressed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Kids that normally go to school and get to hang out with the friends and all that stuff, now they wake up and they sit in front of the computer. They will be less motivated. Are you kidding me?
Right.
To get up and brush their teeth, they're going to be less motivated.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? Every day looks the same, So it will affect us. Like, the changes in our schedule, if they happen, they don't expect to be not affected by that.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
I don't know. Hang in there, world.
I know. Good luck.
We got this. See you on the flip side. Yeah, and especially now, right? I would please comments and questions for us.
For sure.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Like some more specific things that because we're in the bubbles too. We don't hear about all the things that others may. I do think about of course, the medical professionals. Gosh,
Yes.
that's going to be a whole other, So if you have questions, if you have specific concerns, we're here.
Yeah.
In Utah. Thank you.